For 120 years, since 1889, the Queensland Teachers Union has continued to grow. The centenary celebrations back in 1989 marked a significant milestone, and a lot has changed since. But one thing has always remained constant: the commitment of the Queensland Teachers Union to protecting the interests of its members. In 1991, the union's widespread industrial action saw the Queensland Government bring in the first remote area incentive scheme. 130 schools took part in the stop work action.
Remote area incentives have been very important for Queensland teachers. They have been for about, certainly for the last 25 years. Queensland teachers teach everywhere in the state, from Torres Strait and Thursday Island, to Djara and Mount Isa, to Birdsville and Cunnamulla and Charleville and all those places in between. So it's difficult teaching in those locations, a special set of circumstances that they face, and they need to get better pay and conditions to attract teachers out into those centres.
In '92, the QTUs signed up its 30,000th member, and 1993 saw the TAFE division launched. Also in 1993, the QTUs staged the first 24-hour strike for over a decade in protest at proposed budget cuts to education, including over 500 teaching jobs. Over 10,000 teachers attended mass meetings.
The strike was about hanging on to something we'd fought hard for, which was teacher numbers, from which flowed class sizes and a myriad of other conditions. They were big rallies across the state, and we weren't surprised because the strike had come about through really a sense of disappointment and anger that teacher numbers were being proposed to be cut at all, and so that statewide strike was on the wave of that.
In 1995, thousands of QTU members successfully took action and secured non-contact time in preschools, primary and special schools.
The campaign was designed to achieve parity with secondary colleagues. After a series of rolling stoppages, we gained a full bench hearing in the Industrial Relations Commission to arbitrate the matter. The Commission granted 2 hours per week non-contact time for those members. It was a very good start. It also challenged the traditional paradigm, particularly of primary school organisation, of one class, one teacher all day, every day.
It benefits the students because the teachers have time then to meet with other classroom teachers, to discuss programs and come up with some really good and interesting things for the students to do.
I'm a Barbie girl in the Barbie world, life in plastic.
In '97, the QTU reacted when the state government introduced the Leading Schools Plan without consultation. Around 5,000 teachers attended a mass rally and staged a full-day strike to voice their opposition.
I think the sad thing in many ways was the Leading Schools was a facade. It was really a ruse, and many people got caught up in that. They actually thought it was about devolution and more authority and autonomy for schools, but in fact it was the complete opposite. It was about centralised control, about power being in Mary Street, and about the union being sidelined. We weren't going to accept that, teachers weren't going to accept that, and luckily the union stood proud and turned the government over on the matter. And to this very day, the union enjoys pride of place in the defence of public education in Queensland.
In the year 2000 EB, teachers were offered 3% and told to take it or leave it. Union action forced the government to accept arbitration.
The Queensland Teachers Union and teachers continue to reject the offer of the government of 3% per annum, and the campaign then went to the Industrial Relations Commission. The Commission, of course, vindicated our campaign with an award for teachers of 5%, 4.5% and 4.5% over a 3-year period. I was driving past a newsagent the following day, and there was a huge banner outside advertising the headline for the day, and it was "Pay War Victory for State Teachers," and the U2 song was being played, "It's a Beautiful Day." And so it certainly did, it was a pretty exciting time for me in my career, and certainly for Queensland teachers and for the Teachers Union.
In 2003, the union launched the Class Size Counts campaign, successfully securing a class size reduction from 30 to 28 pupils in years 4 to 10.
In 2003, the enterprise bargaining campaign was going nowhere, and the government were in a similar state of mind to what they are now. And it was the action of teachers across Queensland in drawing attention to the fact that class sizes was a significant issue in that time. And following a successful QTU conference as part of its proud 120-year tradition now, following a conference at that time, teachers marched on Parliament House and demanded, in terms of class sizes, that class sizes be reduced from 30 to 28. It was a significant reduction at the time, and certainly became a significant result for teachers in that day and age. And unfortunately, it's a milestone that still stands, and certainly teachers, by their actions, showed that actions count. The big benefit out of a campaign like class sizes was the fact that reduction of class sizes meant good things for the teachers and parents and staffs in Queensland schools. The Queensland Teachers Union always, at the basis of its campaigning, has shown over the years that its sole elements of campaigning are around improving the conditions for students, and that's so important as much as improving the conditions for teachers.
Breaking my back just to know your name. 17 tracks and I've had it with this game.
In 2004, the QTU hits 40,000 members and embarks on a sustained campaign.
Queensland Teachers Union got active in the Right to Work campaign as early as June 2005, when we rallied outside the Liberal Party headquarters, and we had a shearing of our heads to show that workers would be shorn of their rights. From then on, teachers got really involved in this, because the Your Rights at Work for teachers wasn't about their conditions, it was about the future of the children they teach, the conditions under which the parents of those children worked, and the communities in which those children lived.
The Queensland Teachers Union has a very rich and proud history, one of unity. We've never been split, we've never amalgamated. We also have a history of growth. Since 1990, for example, membership numbers have increased by over 50% to the current level of 44,000 members. Before the recent strike in 2009, we recruited 1,200 members in 5 days. People were keen to join a union that had a strength. There are very few unions these days that can organise a statewide stoppage involving 40,000 members. We're also proud of our service to Queensland across the state. We have 10 officers supporting our members and our officials in schools, working day by day with teachers to ensure they get the best possible service. And of course, politically, we endeavour to have significant influence over governments of the day to ensure that Queensland kids get the best possible service. So from my perspective, I think members currently and previously have laid a very solid foundation to ensure that we'll have another 120 years of huge success.